I want to move on to a game that I like to play with my guests. It's called Choose Between Two. So I'm going to give you two options, pretty much
Ooh,
based around the same theme, and you're going to choose between the two that you favor the best, and then you can elaborate on that if you want. You ready to play?
okay. Ready.
First one, Braveheart or Gladiator?
Braveheart. No
Oh, that was
question.
quick. Great film. Such a great film. I'm reminded of how great that movie is because I watched Gladiator 2 a couple weeks ago, I think it was, maybe last week. And fine film, but it kind of reminds me that it's really hard to pull off those kind of movies, those kind of sword and sandal kind of
So
things. And
hard.
Braveheart, to me, still stands as one of the best of them ever.
It's such a tremendous piece of work. And I remember, I saw Braveheart multiple times in the theater. Um, and I was blown away. And I feel cheated, truly. I feel cheated that, Mel Gibson, I feel like Mel Gibson got the shaft. And I think about all the films that and he's already made a tremendous body of films, but I feel that we were cheated out of, more work like that. Um, over, he's one of the first guys that was ever canceled, right, in
Mm,
Hollywood, which is total. When you compare it to a lot of the cancellations you've seen then, I'm not saying Mel Gibson is a flawless person, but none of us are, right? And I look at the context of a lot of the stuff that he was canceled over. The man's going through a divorce. Going through an addiction problem, and we're like, throw him under the bus.
yeah.
Like to me, I just think that's insane. And he's continually proven to be this amazing filmmaker. You look at Apocalypto, you look at Passion of the Christ. Like this is a guy that has a visual language. Like he understands film. He's not like an actor that they just gave a camera to, right? And like, oh, we'll see what he can do. Like this is an Academy Award winning filmmaker. And Braveheart was the one that really put him on the map.
Yeah.
And I just feel, man, there's just so many more films. You've heard his name attached to all these different films before, and a lot of them didn't happen. You're just like, man, we really lost out. We really lost out. But Braveheart stands the test of time. I watch it at least once a year, and every time I do, I'm just blown away. I absolutely, I just love it. I love it top to bottom. I think it's just an amazing film. I know it's not, perfectly historically accurate as Gibson has, related, um, but it's still amazing. It's just a great film in every way.
Next one, Kurt Russell or Bruce Willis?
Oh man. I feel like context has to matter there. Like, am I choosing between like just having Bruce Willis films, just having Kurt Russell films, or just in general who I like better?
Well, the ones, let's put it this way, a mixture of both. It's about not only the quality of their films, but also just them as a film personality as well. And the reason why I put them together is they come across to me more than any other star, especially from the 80s, with like really kind of like macho kind of like action films. Those were the two regular guy
Yeah,
action stars,
that's true.
Kurt and
Very much
Bruce.
the blue collar kind of
Yeah.
guys. So I grew up being, and people always knew me as like, oh, you're like the biggest Bruce Willis fan. Bruce Willis, Bruce Willis, Bruce Willis. But I'm gonna give the edge to Kurt Russell. I think that Kurt Russell, he just has a more diverse amount of films from, comedies, action, drama. And I think I don't know, there's just something about Kurt that is unforgettable. I recently just watched Escape from New York and I was like, man, how old was he when he made this? And he was at 30.
Hmm.
And, you think about like him in Tombstone, right? As Wyatt Earp, like what a badass Wyatt Earp. Um, and he's just proven to be like this interesting, diverse actor. And I like that too. Um, I think that as an individual, just a human being, an American, I like that he's a little more outspoken. He doesn't follow the traditional Hollywood lines. He's not afraid to speak his mind. Um, and I did get to interview him once, and it was great. He was super cool. He really struck me as just a great guy. And I always heard I never interviewed Bruce Willis prior to his retirement, but I always heard he was such an asshole.
Hmm.
And we had sent people there when I was at Joblo. We had sent people, to be on set visits, I think for Red 2 and some other stuff, and I just heard nothing but bad things about him personally in that sense. And I don't think he was always that way. Um, but I feel like Kurt Russell is just more of like kind of an American treasure in terms of like a movie star, right? Like a classic. He grew up as a Disney kid, and he really rose through the ranks. Um, and I'm trying to think of like a really bad Kurt Russell movie. I know they exist, but he's just a great all around personality. And I love seeing Kurt Russell in a movie. And there's plenty of Bruce Willis movies where I'm like, it's not very good. But I still
Yeah.
love Bruce Willis. But
Yeah.
we're just giving Kurt Russell the edge.
Next one, CGI or practical effects?
Practical. Practical as much as possible. I'm not averse to CGI, but man, seeing practical effects. I was just thinking about this morning. I was watching. It's funny. So a lot of times I'll start a movie late at night before I go to bed, and I kind of watch it over the course of like 4 nights.
Mm,
As I fall asleep, and it's kind of like my bedtime story, right? I was watching Planes, Trains, and Automobiles,
hmm
John Hughes's film, and I'm watching it, and Hughes actually he's got a number of great shots. Like he's got some golden hour shots that are really beautiful. And I'm looking at all the stuff he's doing. And I'm like, there's no CGI in this. Like, there's a great shot of Chicago where they're driving in, and I'm like, is that CGI? It's like, there's no way. This is like mid '80s. This is not a CGI kind of film. I doubt they had any kind of budget for that. And it looks amazing. It looks real. It feels real. That doesn't mean CGI can't work. It can't complement a film, but man, practical effects, it's just so hard to beat them. Even when they look fake, they look great. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes not
Yeah.
so much. Another example, I was just writing about this on Twitter. I just watched Brotherhood of the Wolf again. It's been a while. I still think it's a great film, but man, the CGI of the creature is awful.
Yeah.
It has not aged well. And there's a few scenes where they had Jim Henson's company did the actual practical stuff. And when they show a few of the practical shots, you're like, oh wow, that's cool, more of that, more of that. And then they cut right to a CGI thing of the monster, and you're just like, it takes you totally out of the movie. And I think that is where practical effects really come into play is consistency and vision, because CGI can completely take you out of it. Now we've advanced so far now that a lot of times you can't tell, and those are the best moments. But when you can, it can ruin the film. So
Mm.
practical all the way.
Physical media or streaming?
I mean, it's a double-edged sword. I am a proponent for physical media. I think physical media is important. There was a time that I was like, I'm sick of buying discs.
hmm
Where am I going to store these? And I used to like spend so much time trying to I would be like on the internet for hours trying to find shelving
mm
for my discs. Now I don't really worry about that. I'm just more picky and choosy of what I'll buy on physical media because I used to buy everything.
Right.
Like in the early days when DVDs really started coming out, it was like I gotta get them all, I gotta get them all. And I was buying movies that I didn't really care about. Just kind of like I saw it in the theater, I guess I'll buy it. But now I just treat it as if this is a movie that I truly love, and that if Snake Plissken hits the reset button on the whole planet Earth, and we got to start from scratch, and we got to use old, you know, 4K players or DVD players, what would I want to be able to watch?
Mm.
That's my standard for do I buy or do I just maybe I'll get on streaming, and if it disappears, I don't give a shit. Um, so that's my basis. Now, I use streaming like crazy. Obviously, I think we all do. But I think that having a uh, kind of a backup, if you will, and that's a lot of times how I look at it too, is having a backup of physical media, I think is necessary. And I've seen movies disappear. I bought True Romance, the director's cut, on streaming. It won't show up in my library now. It's gone.
Mm. Mm.
That's bullshit. Like that sucks. So now I have to track down. And now, of course, I want a 4K version, director's cut, commentaries, all that stuff. And I have it on Blu-ray, but now I need it on 4K, right? So it's like
Right.
that's where it becomes, expensive and tedious. Is like, they up the format. They're like, oh, I gotta buy this. How many times have I bought Point Break at this juncture, So I think that's where, again, it's a double-edged sword, but I think that physical media is important.
Last one. You're at the cinema. What's your go-to snack? Popcorn or candy?
Popcorn, extra butter,
Extra butter. Very good.
extra butter. I want it swimming in butter. Like I want my fingertips to be greasy with butter. It's probably not the healthiest thing, but I go to the movies at this point, usually about, I mean, on average, it would be once a week, but at this point, it's been kind of a dried up marketplace of late. I missed my Red One screening the other day, which I'm not really sad about.
Yeah, you
Um,
didn't miss much.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't think I would, but um, so it's been, oh, it's probably been like, it's almost been 3 weeks since I've been to the movies. Uh, but I'll be back. I'm going to see Gladiator 2 on Tuesday or
Okay.
Monday. Monday, I see Gladiator 2 um, for a screening. And I look forward to my popcorn. It's
You know
I
what?
love it. To me, it's the kind of just when you think about going to the theaters, you think about the movies, it's so arbitrary, right? Like popcorn. Why popcorn? It's just such an arbitrary kind of snack. I guess it's cheap, it's easy to make, it's hot, it's warm. I get it. But it's still kind of arbitrary in terms
Mm,
of like being this theatrical snack. But I guess it kind of goes all the way back to the circus, right? You think of the circus, you think of popcorn.
yeah.
So you think of this big tent entertainment thing. Popcorn is just like the go-to snack. So I guess I get mixed up in the nostalgia aspect of it too. But I do love popcorn. It's not like I'm eating it just because it's nostalgia. I'm eating it because I like it a lot. I love it. I just feel like it's part and parcel with going to the theater.
Yeah. I know when I take my kids to the theater, they love when they get like free popcorn. To them, it's
Oh
just
yeah.
like manna from heaven. It really is. It's like popcorn. And to me, I'm a little jaded about it because I always get free popcorn. And right now, I'm just like, popcorn, yeah, whatever. It's like being in one limo, being in the mall kind of deal. But when they go, they're like, oh, popcorn. I want to have it. So I don't know why I've more transitioned to candies lately or chocolates and such
Oh,
when I
okay.
watch it.
What is your
But I
go-to?
well.
What's your go-to candy?
I like eating kind of like chocolatey kind of stuff, like Maltesers or such. But I made the really big mistake of actually buying a chocolate pack of chocolate from the cinema itself. Because
Oh yeah.
I didn't intend to eat it, but I was with the kids, I was with my family, and I was like, I just feel like a snack, and I couldn't go. We were in like a movie theater, but I was within a shopping center, and I couldn't go all the way to like the grocery store, which was a few flights down. I didn't have enough time. I was like, okay, I'm just going to buy a pack of chocolates here, like Maltesers or what have you. I don't know. Do you have Maltesers in the States at all?
I think they're called Whoppers here.
So I got a pack, and it cost me, and this is Australian currency, $10.40 Australian.
Mm,
So just
yeah.
put it in context. If I bought that at the grocery store, it will cost me like $7 Australian. So it's like a markup of like 300 something dollars. And
Yeah.
I'm an
It's the same
independent.
here.
Yeah, it's like
It's the same
it's
here.
like
Concessions
yeah,
are ridiculously expensive and the
ridiculous.
portion
Yeah,
sizes are usually smaller, so
yeah.
yeah, it's kind of nonsense. And that's why a lot of times, so we'll go to, I don't know if you guys have Target in
Yeah,
Australia,
we
but
did. All the stores are closed down, so it's only online now. But we used to have it
oh
over there.
no.
Mm.
Well, there's a Target right next to our theater. So a lot of times, like if we want to get something other than popcorn, like I'll ask my son or whoever, I'm like, well, let's go to Target and get it and bring it in because you're going to get better portions and better prices.
Yeah,
Plain and
absolutely.
simple. Um, but also, I mean, I'm sure you've seen this too. Our theaters here are becoming like almost like restaurants when you go in. You
Oh
can
yeah,
get a pizza, you can get one of those giant cookie pie thingies.
right.
Like there's like so many things. You can get donuts, you can get all this crazy stuff. You get a cheeseburger and fries like at the movies, which I would never get. I would never there's no point, that I would go to the theater and be like, let me get a cheeseburger and fries from the movie theater. I can only imagine what that would taste like and where it's coming from.
Yeah,
But yet there it is, and people do order it, and it's crazy to me. But it's, again, like theaters, that's where they make the brunt of their money from. They don't make it the brunt of it from ticket sales. They make it from concessions. So
yeah,
I get it. And part of me is like, well, I'll pay for concessions to support, the theater because I do want the theater to stay here. I don't want to be like, screw you guys, just play the movies. Like they got to make money too. And I understand that. So popcorn and a soda, you got me. Anything else? You gotta pump the brakes on that.
Thank you for watching the Matt's Movie Reviews channel. Please subscribe for more reviews, podcast interviews, and exclusive content.